Welcome to Laser Reviews. Today I'll be talking about Poltergeist from 2015, the remake of the original Poltergeist from 1982. I already made videos covering the first three movies in the original Poltergeist trilogy, so now it's time to watch the remake. Granted that this is a remake, it of course has a lot of similarities with the movie it's remaking. It does differ in some ways, not really major ways, but in a few ways, so I will be more emphasizing where it differs from the original rather than just walk you through the entire plot, as it is a rehashed plot, more or less. And since it's a remake, I will hold it up against the original. And that is essentially the focus of this video. It will be giving you, hopefully, the idea if this is a movie you want to watch yourself. I will be spoiling a bit, but not too much. And it's mostly to see how this compares to the first one, because that's essentially what always happens with remakes that are so closely remaking another movie. They have to live up to the original, or at least justify their existence in another way.
No, duh. What are you, a regular Einstein?
And here's a very brief plot summary. It opens up with the family of five, just as in the original, moving into a house that exists in what appears to be an underdeveloped, poor suburban neighborhood. It doesn't look poor, but it's established that not many people live there, that the mall has closed down. Although it's not directly told to the audience, it seems that the reason why the family moves there is partly because they know someone there, but more so because the wife in the family wants to write a book. And because of that, she had to not work, meaning she had to leave her job, meaning that the husband now has to provide for all of them, and therefore they had to move to a less expensive house. I don't know if that's the case. Honestly, that's already a big issue with the movie, is the reasons for them moving there is not that well established. In the first movie it makes sense, because it is the dad moving there to work for a real estate agency to promote and sell houses in this suburban development. Is why there's nobody living there. That's why the family recently moved there. I mean, that's a very nice way to tell the story. Instead, this movie, the family moves there and the husband has no job opportunities there. He has to find a job. He tries to get a job anywhere, in any store he walks into. Not granted, you only see him walk into one store. He starts asking them for their union, for the benefits. Why are they moving to a place with no idea what they're going to do there? Wow, this movie starts out bad. Not as bad though, because the dad is played by Sam Rockwell. So that's a good start. Sam Rockwell, I like my Sam Rockwell. So that's a nice way to start the movie. We have Sam Rockwell. How bad can this be? One thing I do like about this movie is the teenage daughter has a much bigger part of the plot than in the first film, where she's just written off. In the second half of the movie, she's not even in it. She's just at a friend's place or something like that. Didn't even bother to have her in the movie, so she just threw out of it. This movie actually has her doing something throughout the entire movie. Granted, she's not doing much, but she is doing something. She is a part of the film. You of course also have the two youngest children, a girl and a boy, just like in the original. And there's a spooky tree there, of course. It just goes over through all the things that the first one did, but just change things up a bit. So the family moves there, no idea what they want to do. The wife wants to write a book, but already moving there, she's, we need money. Maybe I should take up a job. They're already running out of money. They just moved there, and they're already running out of money. What's this plan? Why did they move? Tell us something. Give us some background. This family doesn't work. This dynamic doesn't work. What are you doing, movie? Do it better. Tell a better story. This is bad. and being desperate, trying to be a good father, he tries to buy the love, so they have no money left. You just see how 2 credit cards got cancelled in the shop, in the hardware shop, and he decides to spend the rest of the money at the mall that was supposedly boarded up. This is a strip mall, so maybe that's different, not a proper mall. So maybe the proper malls are boarded off, but the strip malls are open. The dad decides to buy the love of his children with expensive gifts. The daughter gets a phone that will play a role in the movie. The son is given a drone, because that's what he wants. In 2015, I guess that's when drones were a new thing. Okay, yeah, the dad wants to buy the love, and the mom wants to return these items. Of course, they don't get a chance to return things, because with things already happening. From the second the family moves into this house, the children discover something is wrong. There is this big wardrobe. As in the first movie, the wardrobe plays a big role in the movie. And the two children realize, okay, you see the girl talking to someone in the wardrobe, and then you see her and the son touching it, and their hair, static electricity starts rising, and that's a decent visual. Honestly, aside from how stupid it is, the opening of the film did at least give me the idea that I wasn't going to watch a terrible movie. It started off quite fine. And as they struggle in the relationship, the mom and the dad has, I will not say an alcohol problem, because it's not really revealed to be a problem in the movie, but he does use alcohol to escape how tough reality is, it seems. It actually bundles a lot of the ideas from the first, second, and third Poltergeist together. So in the second film, alcohol plays a larger role than it does in the first film. But here, the dad just takes on that alcoholic-ish perspective of the second film. I think there's also some of it in the first film, but it's just better established in the second movie. Not a bad idea, it's just the way it's done is not that great compared to the first movie and the second movie. I think he's just dabbling a lot with being a bad provider, like he's not a good patriarch. Rehashing the ideas of the first film takes place in, of course, Reagan's America, in a suburban hellscape. Of course, the ideas of patriarchy and the man being the provider, that does play a bigger role, but this is still American 2015. Some of these ideas still very much prevail, and I think that's why the dad is drinking. That's why the dad gives these gifts. He wants to be a good dad. He wants to be a good husband, struggling with his masculinity. Again, that's something you see much more in the second film, in the Poltergeist. It is not done awfully. I'm not shitting on this movie too much. I think it is done okay. Sam Rockwell is an entertaining guy. He does play a lot of gags with possession, like when the kids report there is something in the closet, they realize it's a squirrel, and it's a bit funny. He's doing a good job, honestly. It's just not as good as the first and second movie. That's why it's bothering me. That's why I'm having so many problems with it, because honestly, it's not done awful. It's at this point already, in the first, I'm 20 minutes into the movie. It is not bad. It also doesn't waste your time. 10 minutes into the movie, and you already have haunting aspects. I think it's 15 or 20 minutes into the movie, and the girl is already saying,
"They're coming."
And she's talking about these spirits from the other realm trying to find... they're trying to get into heaven or into the actual realm of the dead. Right now, they are in this space between the two realms. Like, it's one of those things that's being discussed by the paranormal investigators and everything. Like, where are the dead people? Where are they trying to go? How can they get there? And that's a part of it. And of course, you have the TV scenes. How is the TV scene in this movie compared to the original? They do something different. And I will say what they do is it's actually more spooky. I do like what they're doing. That's essentially what remakes should do. They should take ideas from the original, but do it different. This scene is good. It does that well. Of course, you also have the boy experiencing things and the parents not believing him, like the doll haunting him. One scene that's quite nice. Haunting entities can stop people from moving. They can paralyze them. So he's running away from this big tree, and while he's trying to run downstairs, he's just stopped mid-air, and you just see the terror in his eyes as the tree makes itself into the house with its branches, grabs him, and pulls him out of the house. That's a very nice visual. It has some cool visuals. It has some cool ideas. The first, at least, quarter of the movie is good. Mostly good. The story is a bit idiotic, but the rest is quite good. Also, very early on, you're told that this house is built on a burial ground. The only person that knows in this neighborhood is a childhood friend or a university friend who is the real estate guy. He is the guy selling these houses. At least that's how I understood it. The dad is trying to get a job at his place, but he doesn't get a job, or it's not really discussed further. So whereas it's a big reveal in the first movie, this being a remake, it's okay to tell it early in the story because the audience already knows this. So it's okay to let that information slip early on. And as the hauntings begin, as in the first movie, the family is trying to cope with it. The daughter is dragged into the TV and now lives in the other realm, communicating with them through electricity. And they are finding these paranormal investigators that work at this university. They are sending out a team, this professor and her two. One thing I don't really get is she has two students who help her with this, setting up all this gear for monitoring ghosts. And one of the students is a very big skeptic, much more than he should be. And he's a bit annoying, honestly. He's just that they do it very well in the first movie with the two guys who help the first paranormal investigator set up all the equipment, and that just, they are experiencing all these terrors and flee. And that doesn't happen in this movie. It's just not done as well, to be honest. It does have a very nice scare with this guy, so it doesn't have a face-off scene, sadly. I do like when the face, when the face comes off. I do like when the face comes off. No, it has a hole in the wall and a drill, which is I do like. That's good as well. Then it takes a turn for the worse. So we are maybe less We're more than half an hour in. So one thing that this movie also does, it does waste your time more. It's not as well paced. You don't get that much time to develop an understanding and familiarize yourself with the family and fall in love with the family as in the first one. The family dynamic of the first film is so strong. It is so well established, so well told, that you really root for the family. In this film, you root for the family because it has Sam Rockwell. The mom is also a decent actress. I'm just emphasizing Sam Rockwell because he's the guy I know. I don't really know the mom from anywhere. The family dynamic is kind of okay. The child acting is good. It's just not as good as the first movie, and that's why it falls apart in comparison. But again, compared to other movies, it's not that bad. That's just what you will hear me say a lot in this. It's not that bad compared to other movies. But then, of course, it turns out they're dealing with a poltergeist. They're dealing with forces that these paranormal investigators from this university have never seen anything like this before. They don't know what they're up against. So they need help to deal with. And here is one big issue with the movie. Of course, they couldn't have the medium of the first film. But the replacement is awful. But it also makes sense. But it's awful, but it's played by a guy I like, Jared Harris. Jared Harris plays a British paranormal investigator who has his own TV show, who is actually an expert on this and who's brought in to help. And it turns out that yes, he has this media personality, and yes, he does lie, but he also really believes in these things, and he's also really capable of getting rid of them. Okay, I don't hate that idea. It's just what I do hate about it is it is revealed that he used to date the professor at the university. Don't ham-fist that into my movie. It's perfectly fine if these people don't really know each other, haven't dated, or that yes, he has a reputation, but as she knows him, but having them having dated just adds a dynamic we don't need, and it's not used. It's mentioned once in the movie, and that's it. They don't use it. Like, don't throw that into the movie. Just, did you expect this? I wonder where this will go, and it doesn't go anywhere. And when the real hauntings start, that's when this movie turns bad. So the main issue with this movie is the CGI. The movie opens up with the son playing a video game. And it's really bad because the graphics of everything else in this movie is on par or worse than the video game they show. So nothing looks real. It's so full of CGI. It's so crammed full of CGI. Some of it is good, some of it is okay, but a lot of it is crap. It has a lot of scenes, and I will not say how it happens or when it happens, but I will throw in some examples here, some of the video footage, so you can see what I mean that it looks terrible. It's not awful, but it just aged poorly. And it has, again, from the first movie, the hole in the ceiling with things going through. That looks awful. It has virtually no practical effects. Like in the first film, when the daughter and the mom go through that hole, they're covered in ectoplasm. In this movie, they're just not really making up for it. Everything just looks awful. It's so damn ugly. There's a demonic child-ish in it that kind of looks cool. One of the fights with this clown doll kind of looks okay. But the absolute worst offender, and that's where I can't forgive this movie, it shows you the realm of the dead. Because of course they use this drone, travel into the hole to see what's on the other side to find the girl in there. And it's this hellscape of weird twisted souls, and it looks awful. And then they suddenly just find the girl in there, just like, it doesn't make sense that she's standing there because this place is defying the laws of physics, but they can still fly in there and she's still standing there. Just the whole idea is awful. You don't need to show us this realm. It's perfectly fine with the audience using their imagination to think, what the hell is on the other side? Where is this girl? This movie had to show it. That's when this movie gets really bad. It has other things making it really bad. And again, it has cool things too. But overall, it's just a really bad CGI movie. Not the worst CGI movie. And again, by modern standards, or even by 2015 standards, this is at least a mediocre horror movie. Maybe even above mediocre horror movie, above average. But this being a remake of a really good movie, this is just awful. I hated the CGI. I really hated the ending. I hated the forced relationship. I hated so many things it did with the story towards the end. I really can't recommend this movie. It shouldn't exist. Harking back to what I said at the beginning, remakes have to justify their existence. How does this justify its existence? With CGI. The only reason why this exists is because they watched the first movie and thought, those effects didn't age as well. Wonder what we could do with computer graphics. Nothing good, I tell you. Nothing good. I know that practical effects are not always good. There are some effects in the original. It's probably even more early CGI than practical, like some of the ghost effects look a bit odd. I forgot what you call it right now. I think it might not be CGI, but it's kind of more painted on, I think. It doesn't look that good, but it looks infinitely better than what they did with this movie. It loses all its visceralness. It loses all its... If it had slowed down the practical effects and only used it minimally, like if it had been a bit of these odd things happening, but when it did it right, like one thing it did right was using this stasis, this paralyzed effect on the boy. There's one scene where the daughter is dragged upstairs. Those things look cool. If you use CGI sparingly, creating these things, doing them well, that's cool. You can do that and make it work well. But please also use practical effects, or please don't use so much CGI that you just ruin the suspense. Like, if things don't feel visceral, physical, if it feels like nothing, if you can't touch anything in the movie, it just feels fake. I know CGI has developed a lot, but I still have this problem with modern horror movies and general movies in general. CGI still feels like CGI. We haven't moved beyond that yet. And it is a big... I miss my practical effects. I do love it when movies do it. And we just get less and less, but that's just me. And I'm done. I'm wasted. No, I'm not drunk. I'm wasted. My energies are... I need my energies to be replenished. I'm done. This movie, but by far not a bad movie, but I just don't like it, and I can't recommend it, because why would you watch this and not the original? Why would you watch this and not a better modern horror movie? There's so many better supernatural ghosts, haunting poltergeist movies out there, also made in the recent decade, in the last 10 years, that I can recommend much more than this. This is just not a movie worth your time. So this is where we'll end this video. Another franchise ended on a sour note, and I'm sorry about that. Though it's not my fault for making this movie. It's my fault for making the video. It's my fault for including the remake. I hope you at least found this insightful. Insightful in the sense is, do you want to watch this movie or not? That's what I'm doing these videos for. If you want to see other... I've covered other things as well. You can check them out if you want to. If you want to stay up to date with what I might talk about next, you can subscribe and see if I can maybe recommend more movies to you, or warn you against some of the movies you're maybe curious about. You can also maybe write in the comments if you're thinking that maybe there's a movie I should talk about, or a franchise. I mostly talk about franchises. I'd be curious to know, but right now I'm done. I'm done.